Hi everybody, it's Audrey. This is part 2 of the video that we were doing yesterday on Wallpaper Pockets. So I've done a little bit of research. Okay, we did this one on film yesterday, and then I told you I was going to construct the second one off of camera, and so I did, because it was the same construction. And then I just used the other elements that were in the wallpaper spread, and so I've kept the theme of the roses and the colors, because obviously they're coinciding colors, and then these yellow flowers. So I did do a little bit of inking with the worn lipstick. We had done these in brown, done this one around in brown, but I wanted to add a little bit more color, so I went over it, which is sometimes a great idea to do with distress inks, to add a little bit more life than just the brown, and to bring out some other color elements. So I went around again with the worn lipstick. Let's see if I'm in frame. Okay, with the worn lipstick, and here I did with this one. And so it added another little element. Now, I have the texture of the wallpaper, but I don't want my page to just be flat. Also, here's the other thing that I looked at. I am by no means an artist, as in I have not had very much, if any, formal art training, even though I do have a degree in fine arts. It's music and minor English, but if you can imagine with some of the things that I say when I talk, my writing is much better. Anyway, moving on. So there's a risk that we run with things that are the same size. If I were to put them here, for example, this would be, it would be kind of just meh, okay? If I put them here, I'm like, I don't have a focal point, which is a point in where when something catches your eye, like where does your eye go first? And with the way that we work, if we were to have, let's say there was let's say we were to see a picture and there was a scale, okay, and we were to have an orange here on one end of the scale and an orange here on the other end of the scale, where would our eye go? Because there are two objects that are pretty much this, or are the same size, and there's nowhere to draw your eye. Your attention is just naturally split like this. The same thing with these, no matter what size or side I put them on, there is nothing for my eye to relate to or go to. So say now if I just had this, we were just looking at this pocket, think of where your eye would go. Your eye would probably go here, because this is what stands out the most. This is so busy down here that we go to, there's not a lot of stuff going on here, so we go, boom, we center here, okay? I'm kind of hoping that makes sense. So even though I was going to catty corner these, they're the same size, and I don't really have a focal point, because of course I want to do more decorating here. So I took a little bit of time and worked with some things that I think are going to work on this page. And I fussed so much with finding exactly what I wanted or what I felt would be the best thing, that I do that, and I didn't want to put you through all of that, but I basically did want to get these across. So I put some elements, and I'm going to put this page together with you. So I'm going to take this off, and I have my page. So the first thing I did was try to find, I didn't want to stencil this because I didn't want any more flowers, and I wanted to keep it with the kind of the floral look. So I brought in something that might brighten this these muted colors up some. These are just, I mean, these soft colors up some. And so I had a big doily that I got at the thrift store, and I just cut out the middle part of the doily, and I just took the natural patterns and cut. So I cut this out so I could use it. Now I'm going to layer these on the top. So I'm taking into account that I have, I want this to kind of hang, and I'm going to put a focal point over here. So the first thing I'm going to do is build my page. So let me just get this down. Do we have a focal point yet? No, we don't, but we are going to have one up here. And I'm just so excited to get this down. Let me just go ahead and get it down. So these can be kind of tricky putting down. So, you know, I'm just gonna go with some wet white glue. I have art glitter glue in this bottle, this little tiny bottle. It was labeled, but okay. It is worn off through lots of time. And this is just, sometimes this wet white glue dries clear, and this little precision tip allows me to get it out. And I'm just gonna go and just try to catch some elements. I don't want to put a whole lot on here because I don't, even though it will dry clear, I really don't want to just have it oozing out everywhere, but I do want it to adhere. So I'm just kind of picking some larger parts of the doily out, and of course I'm going to need these end pieces to stick down. Now, you may be wondering why I didn't use my Scotch Create glue stick. The delicate parts of this doily are so just so fragile that I didn't want to have too much. I didn't want to pull on them too much and rip this, and I didn't want to use Fabrifix because it could kind of bulk up on me a little bit too much. So since this is going on the page, I'm not really worried about it warping or anything like that. And so therefore, there we go. And I'm sure that with stuff like this, it's going to come back and it's going to have some little peel ups, but that's okay because we can just go in there with our little precision tip and do what we had decided. Okay, so I'm going to put this down, and let me make sure I remember how I decided I was going to do this. I believe it was something along the lines of maybe here. Before I put it down, let me make sure. Okay, maybe just a little bit this way. Okay, and we are praying for, not really actually, we're just hoping, that's a better term, for this to be where I wanted it. So I do not mass make things very often unless I'm doing a craft show and I'm mass making like a certain item. And the reason why I don't is because I like my little snippets and all, or my little clusters or whatever you have, I don't want them to be so put this one up here. I don't want them to be so just mass made that they are not unique to my project. I'm very I like to work on, and yes, this is it does take time. I'm gonna work on, I work on what am I trying to lost my train of thought when I was thinking about what kind of glue I wanted to use on this. Okay, yeah, I don't mass make them very often because I never know what I'm going to use them for, and I don't want to just say, oh, here's a cluster that works, and that's just not the way I am as an artist. And yes, are we artists? In a way, yeah, the paper artist. I mean, I look at it like that. I mean, because we're creating something, and it is artistic, and it is for visual um, um, appeal or whatever. So, in a way, it is art. You know, I mean, those people that you saw that just went and rolled in the paint and rolled all over a tarp or a piece of fabric or whatever with paint all over their bodies. If that can be considered art, this can be considered art. So, just splattering paint on a canvas and naming it is, I know, so can this. There's my argument. There's our argument that let me move this. This glue dries fast. So yes, think of yourself as an artist when you are paper crafting. I want this to move up a little bit, but unfortunately it has already glued itself down. And always after a while, you will have little things that will come up, and that's when you get your glue, and you just, once in a while, if you're making a journal, you can just go through the journal and see what's sticking up or popping off. I had one of my flat back pearls just pop off of one of our little flip ups that we made in here, and yeah, we just had to fix that. Okay, so now I have this basically, and what I've done here is built my basic cluster. I have pulled out what I want to the colors that I want to pull out, and yes, I just used this. Now, let me talk just a tish about using your scraps. You can, okay, this was just wide, okay, but it was a really pretty soft pink that I liked. So I basically just took the rough edge and just cut it out, to cut these little borders off, and gave myself a bottom for my I'm going to decide if I want to use the rough side or the smooth side here. Okay, and adding this extra elements of texture are very important to me. I also had just moved it. Okay, I also had another piece of, here it is. Okay, I had another little piece of just lace that I wanted to put here, and I wanted to bring in the green color and put it over the top, because I really wanted to celebrate my colors and add some texture. And if you notice, I'm going kind of catty-cornered, or in different directions here with my pieces, just for a little interest. And these are very thin lace, so pieces of lace, so they won't bulk up too much. Here is a piece. What I did is the coloring on the back of this wallpaper is absolutely just a gorgeous color. So I'll probably ink around this as well, but I'm just showing you what I did. And then I went through my vintage pink and red button bag, and I pulled out this pink button. This very old, and it had a plastic back on it. So when I say a plastic back, let me see, like something kind of like this on the back, and that's definitely not going to fit down, okay, on something, and it's going to add way too much bulk. So what you can do is, if you have, be very careful doing this, if you have any jewelry pliers like these, just you can take them and just do like this and snip off the pieces of your button and get that more of a flat surface. In this case, this might be, might need to work on this one just a little bit more. And another thing too is, if you can't quite get everything off and it's not too bulky, you can also, and this is terrible for me to say on film or whatever, on video, but you can also take a little lighter, a little heat, and I have done it, and melt that part down, but just don't burn your fingers. There we go. But that's pretty much flat, as you can see, and that I've done that with this one. Okay, so that's a little trick there. Okay, so then I decided I wanted to bring in some of the richness of this doily, so I took another little piece that I had off, and of course we have our threes up here, and then I was going to put this on top, and this was going to be my cluster. Okay, now there are a few other things that we need to do, obviously, like is putting these together. So I brought out my soft pinks, my off-white, and this contrasts beautifully with these brown colors. So let's see. I just am not keen on the idea of just stapling a cluster together. I kind of find it, and please don't be, everybody has their own style. I kind of find it a little tacky, so to speak. When you just have a big staple there and you don't have anything, you don't have anything else really covering it up, so you just got a big staple in the middle of it. But if we're going to cover up the button, a staple might be, a very small staple might be what we need, and then we can go around and do a little gluing if we want. I am going to add just a slight blue color onto this to bring in the blue. I don't want to hide that blue. Let me do a little test piece. I have tumbled glass, and it will not be this bright on the muted background. Here's a little piece of the wallpaper that I can't use because of the writing, but I'm utilizing what I have around me, and to actually, add some beauty to, okay, I like that, to add some beauty to our projects. And when you have these ripped edges, they will just take the ink just beautifully, because they take it in different, the ripped parts will take the ink in just beautiful, soak it up in different, it all won't be uniform. See how it's soaked up a little bit more here because there was a little bit more rip and tear there. So just getting that edge in there, and just with this soft blue. And I didn't do the middle because we're going to be covering it up, and I didn't want to do it that way anyway. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to catty corner this a little bit. So we've gone in this direction, we've gone kind of upwards. Now, actually, I think I want this to go kind of this up, sort of sideways direction. And then this. And then we have a little paper element here with the blue. We already have our green. We have this. And I'm just going to pick it up and staple it. If you have one of these, and if you don't use a regular stapler, it works just fine. But I love this Tim Holtz, like the mini stapler, because it does a much smaller staple. And I think that's going to hold it together. See how tiny the staple is? If you don't have, and it's very hidden. If you don't have one of these, it's okay. But I don't have so much to cover up. It's going to be as bulky, etc., etc. Okay, so now I can just pick this up. And if I want to glue more of the things down, I'm not sure if I just said this, you can, and we probably will. So let me see. All right, now here's another trick. If you have a lace background and you are just a little bit worried about holding everything together, here's a little trick that I do. I'm not sure if others follow suit with this, but you can just take just any kind of round punch, that maybe a little bit too big. I think I have a 1-inch circle punch here, and I was looking to see if I had a piece of index card left over. This may work. Okay, if it's a little, we're not even going to be looking at this anyway, so if it's not a perfect circle, that's okay. All right, see, not quite perfect circle, that's okay. I'm going to take this and I'm going to Fabrifix it, and I'm going to, Fabrifix is, I explained earlier, if you have not heard of Fabrifix, it is paper to paper, paper to fabric, fabric to fabric. We did wallpaper to wallpaper, which it seems to be holding up pretty well for us. Okay, and I'm going to put me a base on here, and it's not, you can't see it. Okay, and then I'm going to glue that, and then that way I have a piece of paper that's holding down my cluster instead of just trying to glue all over it and just make a mess. I mean, if you prefer to, that's fine. Okay, now I'm going to cover up that staple, and I'm going to use Fabrifix glue because it will do a strong glue, and it will usually hold things like this. Sometimes if you find this doesn't hold, you can go in with a little bit of more stronger glue, a little bit stronger glue, and it is kind of like what I pull out when I really have something strong, and it's this E6000. And when I say E6000, and I'm pulling out my E6000, I mean business. I mean, this is like, okay, you are going to stick. It is an industrial strength adhesive. It's clear. It has a very strong smell. So, you know, if you're around it too much, you might kind of get that glue high. So don't sniff the glue. Even if you're tempted, adults are tempted to sniff the glue too, but we are killing thousands of brain cells, and Lord knows I don't need to lose any more brain cells. Okay, now here we have the page, and we have the basic structure. Now we have our focal point up here, okay, and we have this, and we could do something a little bit more down here, but I just don't want to take away from my focal point so much. So that might be something that I think on a little bit more. Now, we will have a lot more things going on because we will be putting stuff into these pockets, and I won't be using these exactly for my pockets, but we may want to. These are the Useful Birds of America. I have some of these in my shop at the moment. These are, I believe, from around somewhere no later than the 60s. These may be more like the 30s, but maybe they might not be quite that old. But they are pretty old, and I don't see I guess I could look it up online, but see how I have a pretty yellow and, you know, stick out of there. Now, I might want to do a little something to these, so I might want to add a little bit of a little bow or something to these. I could do that. Isn't that cute? I don't use that word cute very often, but it's pulling the blues and the pinks out, so I don't know. You can decide whatever you want to put in there. And if you want to do more to the pockets, that's fine. But just remember that you do want to, that's still drying. And I'm moving it around. You may want to do a little bit more with your focal points. With these, but just don't take away from this focal point that you have up here. Ask the question, am I going to, now that you've built your focal point on here, is it going to take away from my focal point? Yeah, it is possible to have two focal points or more than one focal point, one place that your eye will go. However, one needs to be the main one. I mean, you don't have to, it's your stuff, but generally speaking, the way the eye works with art and everything, that's kind of where I am headed and thinking with this. So, I may want to make these look a little bit more. I'm going to do one more thing, and may want to make these have a little bit more personality. And I really can't put anything bulky up here if I'm going to be putting pockets in there, but I'm going to take like a pencil eraser here, and I think I may pull out, let's see, we don't have a lot of blue used here. So I may take out the same blue, the tumbled glass, and just stick a little bit, do this on the end with your eraser, and then come in here and maybe look like a little tab or something in here. I'm going to kind of try to center it. And that added like that. And if you don't like the way that that looks, you can come in with another color like gathered twigs, and you know, make it a little bit more brown. And if that's covered it up too much, you can come back in with a little bit more. There you go. I have a little bit more of a blue over the top, and it, you know, it doesn't have to be. You know, like one solid thing. It's obviously, you know, in several places. Let's do this one up here. I think I'm going to put down the worn lipstick since that's what I have gone. Ooh, not picked raspberries. Okay, a little bit with the worn lipstick. Put it down. Boop. Maybe a little bit more. Doop, doop. Okay. You don't have to make the sounds. The sounds are optional. I'm going to put a little brown on here, but I don't want it too much. And I feel like this one may need the blue brought out in it just a little bit more, and I think I'm going to put a little bit of pink over here. Yes, I tend to fuss sometimes. Ooh, that was a little off. Okay, I tend to fuss a little bit with my projects, but that's not exactly how I want it. It's a little bit all over the place, but now we have to follow suit with this one. Okay, so there are times to be matchy-matchy, and there are times that we aren't necessary to be fussy-fussy. So there we go. Okay, we have a little bit of something else on there. I'm not really overly thrilled with that, but you know, we could have taken a little paper punch and put it down there and ink that and done that. If we don't like this, for example, you know, it's down there and you're stuck with it, and I'm just saying you're stuck with it. That sounded terrible. You're stuck with it, but really it is kind of there, and you are slightly stuck with something, and it may not be what you want. So cover it. I could take a paper punch and glue it on here with a color, or just a color that I wanted. I could do that. I may do that. I'm thinking a little bit of something else. Let me look just a second. I wasn't planning on using these. But since there's a pearlescent button with a pearl cover to it, I think I may bring in my barrage of of liquid pearls and see if I can find anything that may offset these without being overly a lot. Okay, I think that this one with no name. Okay, I don't know what this is. This no name one may work with this light blue. And let's see if I can find a pink. Let's see. This also unnamed. Some of these don't have names on them, and you always want to test them. For some of these just don't have the name on them, and you're just like, okay, it's just a random ink color. And that's okay if it works, but I like to call it something. Okay, that's nice. I think this color is ballerina, I believe. Yes, it's going to be a little bit too much, and everything else in here is a little bit too dark. So I'm going to try this just to soften this up. I'm going to put a little bit of pink here. And a little blue up here, and let's see, that may calm it down a little bit. But if you have use your liquid pearls and you don't exactly like how they look, you can also cover those up before they dry. So we have this, and now that I'm doing stuff with my liquid pearls, I may want to do a little bit smaller, alternating colors over here. Now, I was just about to talk about those little swingies. If you have those little legs, a lot of times it's the direction that you don't go exactly down and up. But another thing I wanted to say, when you go down and up, is try not to go all the way down and touch the surface, because that's where you get your popped looking little you may have the pearl, but it's kind of smashed in the middle, and you don't want that. You want it to see how this one is. See how they already look like when they go on, they may have a little top on them, but see how round my pearls have turned out, and they may get flattened with I hate to say with age, but they may get a little flattened with when you close the book on it and all. This is sage. I think I may use sage since there's a lot of pink in this. Always test them before you use them. And obviously, once you use liquid pearls, it's a really good idea not to revisit. Not to revisit the page to do anything else until it's dried. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so I may put something here, but I may not. But this is what we have. I'm going to close with this. And I hope that you've learned a few things from me today. If you have, please, or you just enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed, I would absolutely love to have you as a subscriber. It makes me so happy to click on and see that I have new people, new subscribers. It's very encouraging. It encourages me to have more videos, to do more videos, because people are actually, like them and are watching them. And I really appreciate all of my new subscribers. I have recently had a lot of new subscribers, and it's just like every day I check and I have more, and I get so excited. And I just want you to know that each and every one of you, I want to offer you a special thanks. And if you visit my Etsy store, I have a promo code going on for you. You can just type in the bar, the promotional code, spring into spring 22. So it's spring into spring 22. And that will give you, if you buy $25 or more, you get 15% off. So it's a great time to snag up some of those ephemera kits and some of the lace and trim things that I offer. And once in a while, I will put in a flash sale of something that I have one of. And it's just kind of, when that's it, they're gone. I put in some of my very oldest pieces of trim, and I had one, and I really just wanted to share it with someone, and I stuck it in, and it was gone very quickly. So also, I made this little mini journal. I'm going to be putting it in, and it is a hardback journal. It is about 5 inches tall, and let me see, about it's like a little like 3 5/8 or something, or 3 3/8 or something, and it has little eyelets here, and a cute little satin ribbon. And this is vintage fabric with vintage sari pieces, and these are just so beautiful. How I mean, the fact that they hand did these things, wow, that's just, you know, and all it does is just tie. Okay, and it's not just hard to undo. Okay, and it opens up like this. You don't have any wraparounds or anything like this, and it has some coffee dyed paper in it, and I believe, let me see, 2, 3. I knew all this information the other day. Okay, so it has, there's the middle signature, and it is, so it's 40 pages front and back. And of course I did my little, the way I do my signatures on my spine, I did the tuck. I haven't seen it done before, but I did the tuck to where I don't have all the stuff hanging down and it's not making it all bulky. So then again, you can just tie this closed. And I'm going to be putting this in, put it in your pocketbook, keep it by your bed or in your bedroom drawer. Write your grocery notes in it, or write quotes in it, or notes from books that you're doing, whatever you want. But I'm going to be putting this in soon, and this is vintage fabric, and I absolutely know it is, because the person that gave it to me got it from their grandmother, who made something out of it for her when she was a child. So, and she's an little older lady, so if her grandmother, or maybe it was her mother, I think she said her grandmother made it for her, then I know that it's vintage. Okay, so thank you for watching. Check out my Etsy store, also the Creator's Attic, please. And I will see you later. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.